Okay, I'm joined in studio by Gabriel McSharry, who is a medical herbalist and nutritionist. Good morning, Gabriel.
Good morning, Margaret.
Now, Gabriel, just some of the questions that are coming. Of course, if if you have questions for Gabriel, send them in now to 0833 500 530 or 0818 365 500. This lady contacted me this morning, and she says that when her daughter goes to bed at night, she itches all over her body from her feet up, and it only happens while she is resting, and it wakes her up at night. Have you any idea? There's no itching during the day while she's around and awake, but it's when she goes to bed at night and is resting. And it's so bad. Her mum was telling me that she actually wakes up now. She's about 30.
Right.
Her age. She said she's not yet 30, but she's approaching 30.
Well, the girl is 30, the daughter.
Yes.
All right,
yes.
Yeah. I suppose you can't rule out a link between the nervous system. Now, the central nervous system splits into two generally. You have the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic. And generally, the sympathetic nervous system is the one we use when we're up and active, and we're out and about. And then we use the parasympathetic nervous system when we're at rest, or digesting food, say just after a meal maybe. And there are certain conditions that get worse when, say, you're in parasympathetic mode, and that's where you go into towards nighttime too. So maybe linked to the nervous system, and in that case, Nervine tonic herbs would go into the formula. But in general, there could be something related to something she does at night. So what she has for supper, or what kind of pajamas she wears, or what's the bed clothes like, what's the bed environment like, and all these things. So again, there are things to rule out. So what can she do about it? It sounds like urticaria, which is kind of this thing from a nettle, that kind of itchy hive, rash type condition. And in this instance, there's topically there's certain herbs that are antipyretic, so they stop the itch. But that'd be kind of palliative, and it wouldn't get, in my opinion anyway, wouldn't get to the root of it. And the root of it could be, well, definitely what I do is I take a full diet history, and see what the diet's like, and possibly play around with foods and look for food allergies. And then apart from that, if there's any other existing things going on, like if she's in a high stress job or something like that, then that would also indicate that it could be the nervous system as well. That's the root cause of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This listener gets a lot of ear infections. What can she do to prevent this?
Yeah, well, if you're getting recurrent infections, no matter where it is, it's an indication the immune system isn't up to par. And in this case, get sugars out of the diet, number one. All high sugar diets will reduce your immune system by half. And obviously processed foods and stuff as well. So diet's a big one here, a big player. Herbal medicines are great. We have immune system stimulants. Echinacea is a very well-known one, but also astragalus, bucus, and we have many immune tonics that also have secondary actions. Like some are good for the lungs, respiratory tract tonics, and then some can be good for specific for ear infections and mucous membrane infections. Such as golden seal is probably our strongest natural antibiotic. And anyone with recurrent ear infections, I'd always use it in a formula. So internal herbs, very important, specifically for immune function. What you can apply topically is garlic oil, so an infused oil of garlic, and you don't need much. Generally, when I prescribe it at the clinic, I only give it about a 40ml bottle of it, and that could last a year or two. In that, you'd only put maybe 2 drops in at a time and let it flow down into like you lie on the bed generally when you insert them, and it flows down into the drum. very strongly antibacterial, antimicrobial and so on, and it'll knock out infections and that. Also to rule out here, like the inner workings of the ear is extremely complex mechanically, and there's small little bones and small little cartilage functions and the drum and so on. It's an ingenious mechanism actually, but it's a small environment, and any bit of inflammation or mucus or catarrh, we'll say, that builds up in there can throw everything out of so your hearing, and it can create a lot of pain. It can affect your balance, and it can go down to the throat through the eustachian tube. So so what causes the mucus and the inflammation? Again, we're down to generally food allergies can be a big player here. So all these things taken into context, but recurrent infections, definitely the immune system isn't working right. And vitamin D is very important there too.
Okay. Actually, on that lady we spoke with, or spoke about with the itch, it says, this listener texted in to say it could be an allergy to what the bedclothes are washed in. This lady had it, and it was the fabric conditioner that she was using. Washing the bedclothes. Now, High Ocean, what did Gabriel say about excessive sweating in bed last week? Heard the question, missed the answer.
Right. Not too sure what the question was, but
it was someone who was having night sweats, remember?
Right, yeah.
And we had an adult and a child that actually suffered from night sweats.
Oh, that's
as well.
Right, yeah. Right, so in adults, again, you'd break it down. If you're a woman close to 50, most likely a side effect of hormones dropping off and the start of the menopause, and therefore the treatment in that case with herbal medicines is for the menopause, which are really, really effective and brilliant. Now, if it's we'll say a child, now that can also affect males actually, and it'll be linked. It could be linked to a hormonal imbalance like andropause as well. Now, it can also be driven by the nervous system, by the way. So if someone's extremely stressed and so on, this can drive these sweats as well. In a child, I think I was saying that it's not really a common thing, and therefore, excuse me, they should rule out. Well, first off is the temperature of the room and the bedclothes and so on. And I think at the time it was just getting cold, and they may have thrown an extra quilt or an electric blanket or a hot water bottle, and maybe that was causing it. I think I was just ruling things out. But with all that looked at and know the temperature is fine or whatever, then I would look to see was there any other symptoms, any kind of pain or flu-y symptoms, because it could be fever. And which would indicate an infection, bronchitis, pneumonia, things like this, But generally, again, with all these things, also I think I mentioned thyroid function can cause this, a low thyroid function, but or a high one. But there'd always be other symptoms in these instances than just sweating at night for the child, So. Yeah, I think that was the answer. There was a few things there, and you just need to kind of rule out a lot of things. Okay. And once you've ruled all them out, then I recommend going to a GP for possibly a blood test just to see if there's anything else going on.
Okay, well, we've a question about psoriasis, very bad psoriasis, and what can I do? And someone else with psoriasis, dry psoriasis on the feet and hands. Yeah,
and psoriasis is a type of condition that it tends to get worse coming into the winter as well, and it can be very sore and painful skin condition. So again, it's an overall approach. It's an autoimmune condition. Any autoimmune conditions, and there's over 100 really, but they're deep-seated conditions, meaning that they're chronic. They're going on for many years, and they need an overall approach for an extended period of time. They're nothing that you're going to take that's going to get rid of it in a week or two. It's so generally you have to kind of commit to a long-term change in diet, in lifestyle, and possibly taking herbal medicines as well, which are non-toxic substances that one can take long-term. So psoriasis, A few things, probably kingpins out there. One is oils. Any kind of skin condition like eczema, psoriasis, atopic dermatitis. One should always think of the oil content of the diet, because really how we nourish our skin internally out is via good quality oils and fats that we consume in the diet. So evening primrose oil, really good for skin conditions. You can take 3 grams a day. Cod liver oil, really good for as a nourishing tonic for the immune system, but also for skin conditions. Again, 3 grams a day can be taken. Fish oil, omega-3 fish oil, really good here, good for the immune function, good for the condition in general. You can take 3 grams up. In all the clinical trials that have done on this, which has shown significant efficacy, they've taken between 3 and 9 grams a day, which is a high dose, but just shows that you can take quite a lot of it. So oil's very important, flaxseed oil and so on as well. Probiotics, another thing that's shown in the science to be extremely beneficial, mainly in children, and it even shows that if a pregnant woman takes probiotics, that there's less likely for the child to develop psoriasis or eczema. So this ecosystem of our gut and our gut microflora, again, extremely important. Largely at this stage we still don't understand it to a large extent, but so good quality probiotic either supplement or a good quality natural yogurt, things like this would be quite important. If it's a severe case of psoriasis, then I would recommend taking the probiotics in a capsule that you get in the fridge in a pharmacy or a health food store.
Alright. Okay, rejoin us after this break and can keep your questions coming in to us to Gabriel McSharry, medical herbalist and nutritionist.
Ocean FM. Northwest Today with Rogers Topline Ballymote. New name, but still the same value close to home. Rogers Topline, the builders, hardware merchant leader in the Northwest. 071 918 Ocean FM.
Heading to Enniskillen? Pull in at Belcoo Pharmacy. We have a unique range of Christmas gifts: jewellery, handbags, scarves, Yankee candles, Declior, Body Shop Lacoste and Gucci Willow Tree and toys. Christmas Club now open at Belcoo Pharmacy.
EJ Formal Hire Sligo. Dress your entire wedding party for €500. Price includes. Father of the bride and groom. Wedding fashion.
right, then that's a big one, a mode of treatment. Nutritional deficiencies can cause it again. Our hair is predominantly protein. I think we grow maybe is a 13 foot of hair a day, which is thinking about it, it sounds wrong, but I think if you add up all the little bits throughout your head, so and that's all protein, and it's a non-essential part of the anatomy. This is what the experts, they're called trichologists, who are the kind of hair science experts around the globe. And I just listened to a lecture from one about a month ago, and this is I guess their position at the minute is that it's a non-essential part of the anatomy, and therefore the body will prioritise the organs. So if there's any if you've any protein deficiency, the hair will be one of the first to kind of to go, because the other organs would have higher priority. So proteins extremely important. Good quality proteins too, and that includes your meats, good quality meats, and dairy and animal products, but also nuts, beans, seeds. Good quality protein is very important. Minerals and trace elements very important. Hormonal imbalances very important. So if it's getting worse around menopause as well, again, there's certain herbs there. And another thing to note is that you'll hear a lot of things being kicked about, like we lose 80 hairs a day or whatever, and people do count them, they get up and get down on their pillow and count up or whatever.
They actually count their hair that they're losing?
I mean, if they get really anxious about it, that they're losing it, they're down thinking, I wonder, is that normal or is that excessive? But really, what the experts say is that it's specific to yourself, so you can't really compare. There is no one size fits all. So if you notice that you're losing more than you did 3 to 6 months ago, then you probably are,
Okay. 7-month-old girl with blocked tear ducts since birth, pus-like fluid coming from her eyes, no infection and looks awful. I bathe with sterilized water and cotton wool and massage under her eyes when she is asleep, as she hates me touching her eyes at this stage.
Right, yeah, interesting one. Right, so if they get blocked up, I'm assuming it's catarrh and mucus, yet there's no infection. So therefore I think the body is probably making the mucus itself. It could be a dietary allergy. So diet would be very important here, and rule out the hyperallergens.
Yeah, but she said it's blocked since birth.
Oh, right, so it's a congenital thing where she was just born and it was blocked. Right.
More difficult one then.
It is difficult, and probably when she reaches a certain age there'll be a kind of a surgical intervention. But I guess in the meantime, things you could use, a calendula, a tea made from calendula or marigold flowers. It's a great wash for any, I know it's not effective, but for any infected eye or any inflamed eyes or any kind of eye condition, it's a great thing to use. It's mild. You can get it in the eye, it doesn't sting. So you just mainly make a tea from it, about 5 grams of the flowers, and you cool it down, and that's a great thing to use as a wash. Yeah.
So that's really, and I suppose then it'll have to be an operation later on in life.
Well, generally, if she was born with closed ducts, I think, and these are things that can be rectified. But I think if it's a young child, to let the skull grow a bit first,
Okay. Now, a lady with waking up with back pain, the doctor says the pain is not sciatica. Could that be her bed or the way she's lying, or?
Yeah, it could be. It's an interesting one that she wakes up with it, and that's a good hint into work out why, because it's not after working that she gets a bit pain.
Lower back pain it is.
So it could be an inflammatory thing. Generally, inflammatory conditions, it's when you rest for a while. Like some people are like they complain of stiff joints or pain in their joints and the back. But when they're up and about, they're fine. When they sit down maybe for a cup of tea, and then sometimes they find it hard to get out of the chair. That's an inflammatory condition, and Yeah, this is really good natural, non-steroidal, anti-inflammatory herbal medicines that could be really of benefit there.
Okay, so that's now anything for a 21-year-old male with hair receding and getting thin on top.
Again, nutritional guidelines and the certain herbs that, they nourish the hair. They're not a panacea that like it's a tonic that if you're going bald it'll stop it and next thing you've full head of hair. If you see any product like that, by the way, out there, it's more than likely dubious. But there is herbs that can be of benefit to increase circulation to the scalp, and therefore with circulation you've oxygen and nutrients and iron and stuff that go to the area, and they can be of benefit. And there's certain herbs that like at that age we've some strong hormones. It's 5-dihydroxytestosterone, something like that. It's a strong form of testosterone, and sometimes around the 20s and that we can produce a lot of it. And there's certain herbs that stop the production, the conversion from testosterone to the stronger version, and they can be beneficial. So palmetto and a couple of others.
Okay. All right, Gabriel, listen, thanks a million. And we are inundated with questions, and unfortunately we just don't have the time to get to them. But of course you'll be back with us again next week, and we'll go through the questions that we didn't get to. For people who want to contact you,
they can ring me on 07191 42940.
Okay, Gabriel McSharry, medical herbalist and nutritionist. Thanks, and I know you braved the roads to get into us today. out where you are, but
it's tough out there.
It's tough out there, but listen, thanks a million, and we'll talk to you again next week.